What is up, everybody? Welcome to Season 2 of the 2020 GSL Codes. We're back again. We had a little bit of time off. I felt like actually maybe too much time off. But we're here with a strong start. How are you doing, Artosis?
Well, I'm happy to be back for Season 2. I think this is one of our more exciting seasons, considering we have 3 new players, which basically never happens. When's the last time we had 3 new players? Like Season 2 of GSL?
Yeah, right now it's so cemented who's the very best that it's so cool to have new young blood here.
It is.
Especially now that we're over 10 years into Starcraft, too.
Here's our schedule for the round of 24. As you can see, our last day of the round of 24, of course, is going to start an hour and a half earlier because we do have that group nomination following up afterwards. But this is going to be great, man. 2 days a week of some GSL Codes action. Here's some information about this season. Of course, TY, being the champion, gets invited to the World Championships at IM Katowice next year. We also have the top 4 all seeded into the next round. So that's why you won't see them for the next 6 weeks. But of course, they'll be leading those groups for the group selection phase. And that should be pretty funny, watching Parting in charge of a group again.
So cool, man. And of course, we still have one more season of GSL, which will be on after this one. And
we have another super tournament this year as well.
That's right. So many more StarCraft events to come here in Korea, but we are in the thick of it right now, sorting out who's the best and who's going to be the world champion down the road.
That's right. Somewhere in the round of 16, we'll actually be half done StarCraft 2 for the year here.
It's weird, too, because we started so late, and then we had all this StarCraft crammed together.
Yeah.
But things are going to slowly taper off and even out here. Here's our CEO, Kevin. He has a few words to share with us before we start Season 2 of the GSL Codes.
Hello, Kevin. In the opening speech, I mentioned before, but yesterday and the last season of GSL, and your love and affection for StarCraft 2 is unmatched. And we are always very thankful to you. So it is the opening day today. Would you like to say anything? 2020 GSL Season 2 is kicking off today. And as Gyuri has just mentioned, Season 1, TY lifted up his first GSL trophy. And in Season 2, we have some new faces. So I hope everyone looks forward to this season of Season 2. And a special thanks to LG Ultra Gear Hot 6 for sponsoring us for this GSL Season 2. Please continue to love them and cheer for them. Thank you, Kevin. And I hope you can open the opening day today, Kevin. 2020 GSL Season 2. Let's kick it off.
한번 시작해볼까? 승리의 맛은 달콤한 나카오. 하지만 여기서 끝이라 생각하는 큰 오산이 이제 우리의 차례다. 기대해도 좋아. GSL 시즌 2 The Coming Storm. 모든 준비는 끝났다. 아프리카 TV 프리급 스튜디오 라이브 2020 GSL 시즌 2 Codes The Coming Storm.
Okay, Season 2 has officially started. Again, what an insane Season 1 we had. Something that we've never seen before, I think basically ever in anything. TY, who casted the majority of Season 1, also managing to win the entire tournament.
He's really got his fingers in every hole at Afrika TV, okay? He right now is a caster. He wins prize money. He's on the Afrika Freaks team. I bet you he streams.
I bet
on
you
a free
he
kick. So I'm
does.
not sure about it, but
No, it's insane that he's managed to
he
do.
steals Tassus's lunch money. It's
He
like
does, yeah.
it's crazy.
He takes my lunchbox, everything. Look, it's pretty incredible that he did that. You know, casting is a very time-consuming thing, but the fact that he was able to cast the entire tournament and then win it was really incredible. I thought it was really cool to see Cure get that far, and I don't think he's finished with his progression as a player. I think we'll see him in the finals again. Maybe this year, maybe not, but eventually, and perhaps he'll become a champion.
Yeah, I think there's definitely the possibility that Cure ends up winning a GSL still. Whereas with TY, it's been a long time coming. That was his third finals. He's been one of the best Terrans in the world forever.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just good to finally have him have that championship. I feel like there's a few other players like that as well, where it's like, okay, this guy, why doesn't this guy have a championship, you know?
Of course, yeah. We have a few players like that where you think, we've had so many great games from them, yet they haven't quite come out on top. Anyways, here's our racial distribution right now. For this season of GSL, it's 8 Terran, 11 Protoss, and 9 Zerg.
That's right. And for Protoss, we have 3 new players, Zoun, Prince, and Estrella.
Yep.
And that is going to be so much fun. Again, we rarely get anyone new in GSL. It's almost always people that have been in before. So this makes it extra exciting, in my opinion. I'm especially excited to see Estrella play.
Yeah, I love that kid. He's a super charming guy, and I'm very curious to see how he'll perform in this tournament. One thing to keep in mind is that eventually a decent chunk of our players in GSL will have to do their compulsory military service.
Yeah,
so we are going to continue to see new blood come into the scene, and that's very important for any esport.
It
you
is.
need to keep, it's not just about keeping the old greats there. You got to have new people come in and challenge those old gods.
Of course. You can take a look at our groups here as well. A couple other things just kind of to mention. Patience back after a really disappointing not making it in last season, where he's one of the guys that you know is one of the top ones. Super is back in there as well. Yeah, it's just it's an exciting time, Tasteless. Like, look at these groups. It's just a bit more diversity than I feel like we normally have. Oh, also something else I'm very excited about this season. Of course, I've already mentioned Dream a bunch of times and stuff, but DRG's in great shape right now. So I want him to get to that round of 16.
I'm also curious to see how SOS is going to perform here. He did have some insane games, but then dropped out really early.
That's so true.
I'm sure he wants to turn a new leaf here in Season 2.
Okay, so we have new maps. Obviously, you guys have seen some of these before if you've been watching StarCraft outside of GSL. Death Aura. This has the acceleration zone generators that increase the movement speed of units. These zones are situated on the 3 bridges in the middle, and scouting routes zigzag across the area. We also have Ice and Chrome. Overall, the map is large, and there are various paths. In the middle, late game, you can limit the attack route by destroying rocks on the road. I'm really excited about the Death Aura acceleration zones, or as I like to call them, the Wubulas.
I was thinking Wubulas, but...
Wubulas? See, the Bubula slows you down, but a Wubula, it's like double as the speed, right?
We could call it Runbulas.
Runbulas. I can't wait for some Death Aura games, man, seriously.
No, it's going to be fun. And that we're not finished with that. We have these maps as well here, too.
Yeah.
Pillars of Gold and Submarine.
Look at this. With a total of 14 bases, the linear second base is far away from the opponent, and no matter in which direction you go, you can secure a third expansion.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
The corner bases are a geographical advantage. You know, that's just like Earth when you think about it. No matter what direction you go in, eventually you'll like hit water or something, you know? And then we have Submarine. I guess I don't have time to read that all to you, but it is not actually underwater.
No.
Which is an issue that we haven't had any maps where the bodies float to the top recently.
That's true. But submarines can be, I guess not above the water, but they can be on top of the water.
They can be above the water
true.
as well. It is possible.
Well, they're not. I mean, maybe they picked up and pulled out of the water.
Yeah. Like, you don't think they build them underwater, right? So they're always above water at the beginning of their life.
Contrary to popular belief, they are not built underwater.
Yeah.
So
I bet you once they're in the water, though, you don't take them all the way out ever, right? Probably not.
Probably you do from time to time to repair parts, I would guess.
You want to repair underground?
Quick video, then we're going to start our games.
되게 기쁘고요. 이번에 예선할 때 조를 보고 뚫기 힘들다고 생각을 했었는데 그래도 마음 잡고 하니까 잘 되더라고요. 그래서 되게 기뻤습니다.
예선에서 제가 그 새로운 신예한테 져가지고 방송 경기에서 이제 또 만나거든요. 방송 경기는 다르다는 걸 좀 보여주고 싶어요. 저도 신예 때 예선 처음 뚫고 우승까지 바로 했기 때문에 좀 저를 본받으면 잘할 수 있지 않을까.
너무 고여가지고 좀 신선함이 없었는데 좀 새로운 사람들 들어와가지고 이렇게 좀 순환이 돼야 좀 더 재밌고 보는 사람들도 좀 재밌어 할 것 같아요.
No. No reason. They already tried. Look at Lambo. He lost.
남일이라고 생각을 했어요. 저는 안 갔는데도 나는 안 가겠지. 그런 말도 안 되는 생각을 가지고 있었는데 이제 저도 이제 곧 가니까 아 이제 곧 내 차례가 오겠구나. 그런 정도의 생각만 하고 있어요.
남일 같지 않고 그냥 남일 같지 않아요.
Oh, very sad. Oyen should go army very soon. I'm very, very sad. So I hope me and him we can meet before he go to the army.
예선에서 좀 너무 처참하게 올라가가지고 24강 좀 준비 열심히 해가지고 가볍게 1등으로 올라갈 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
So I feel very great to play in this GSL. I've been qualified in the past few that I played. So I hope I can advance to the next round this one as well.
제가 1차 목표가 조지명식으로 가는 건데 꼭 준비 잘해서 뚫겠습니다.
제가 이게 마지막일 수도 있고 아닐 수도 있어서 거의 마지막이거든요. 그래서 진짜 마지막이라는 생각으로 좀 더 절실한 그 각오로 임할 거고 끝까지 응원해 주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
라운드 24 제스트 존 스페셜 수
Okay, we're getting ready for Group A now. We should point out we do have some new maps. We're going to see what the players will be vetoing. These are going to be best of threes, so sometimes we'll show these maps and these graphics and then not see them for, you know, sometimes 4 weeks or something. So, yeah, we'll see what the pick bands are going to be here.
Yeah, and to mention, during that interview, Zest brought it up. He had a hard time in the qualifiers, you know, losing to a lot of players. He lost to Zoun. He almost did not make it, which doesn't even make sense because he's like the best Protoss in the world right now.
But sometimes he's inconsistent.
It happens.
He is one of these Protosses. I would put him not too far away from even Deer. I think Zest had a lot more success, but there's periods where Zest does really well, and then Zest totally flounders.
He has some hard times.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be like, let's say, a Stats, for instance, who's been really consistent for huge chunks of time.
Well, that being said, Stats has now fallen off at this point. He's not looking anywhere near as strong as he did.
That's fair, yeah.
I think the race in general, Protoss has a lot of up and down right now. Like, think about even the foreign Protosses. Who's completely stable other than Showtime?
It seems like
even Neeb is kind of off the radar right now.
It seems like the decisions you're making early on are so impactful. If you make the wrong opening, it's hard to navigate that to a win.
Yeah.
Where I think in some cases, you know, you could get behind a little bit early on with Terran or Zerg, and you could still maybe fight back from that point. But you know, the way the Protoss tech tree is structured, it's one where you're really locked into a certain path, and it's hard to tech out of it. We're going to start this off on Everdream for map number 1.
Yeah, so an oldie but a goodie. Then into Death Aura with the acceleration zones. That'll be fun. And then Submarine, which makes you think it's an underwater map, but it's not.
Yeah, very, very tricky. Okay, our game is loading up. The first game of Season 2 of the GSL Kodas. This is Zest versus Zoun.
경기가 준비되었다. 한번 시작해볼까? Rise your edge gaming Zest. 주성.
I like that little dotty graphic thing.
Yeah.
That was nice.
알파 X 조은 박한솔.
All right, so Zoun has been playing really well overall. He's been having good results online and everything. looking like a strong player that can maybe make a splash. Obviously, he's very, very good at PvP. We've already seen that.
Yeah, this is a player who's had a lot of pro experience in League of Legends and Overwatch, and is here doing well in Starcraft too.
Yeah, and he used to be on SKT like a really long time ago.
Yeah, so
quit for some other games for a bit. He's back now, looking strong.
Yeah, and so although he may be new to this stage and setting, he's definitely a player that's got a background in pro gaming. So I don't think he's going to be too phased or shaken in this setting, where we have a lot of other players. I think that is worth pointing out, is saying, well, they might be uncomfortable, there might be some anxiety, this could be overwhelming. I don't think it's going to be the case here, and Zest has had some bumpy games just in the recent past. Obviously, he's had some great successes as well here in the earlier parts of 2020.
Well, I think, I think that Zest is probably the best Protoss right now, but I think that this matchup in general has been a bit of a headache for all Protoss players, especially when you're better than your opponent. Just kind of the random factors within it, the hiding of techs, the very sharp build orders,
let's
make it
talk
hard
about
to stay steady.
Yeah, one thing about it, and you already said part of what I wanted to say was the all the different techs. In Protoss, you can tech into so many different directions. It's one of the reasons why, especially if you're new to the game, you'll get cheesed out a lot by Protoss. It can be hard to get a read on what they're going to do because they can cover it pretty well, and then tech very quickly into a very specific direction that's hard to deal with. Now, it's also the fact that you can proxy in so many locations, and this has become a very large issue, especially in the last maybe 3.5 years in StarCraft 2, where people are figuring out you can hide anything almost anywhere, and it's so hard to find, and you don't know what that's going to be. And PvP can end very quickly as well. Let's say one adept or maybe two adepts get inside your main and start shooting probes right away. An Oracle gets in there, you get outmaneuvered, or you can get Immortal Rush. There's so many builds that work and so many ways that they interact together that it's a very difficult matchup to stay on top of against all the types of players that are out there.
Definitely true about that. Now look at this. He does get this Proxy Oracle into Zoun's base. Wow, getting some real damage done at the moment. Already 6 probes down, 7, 8, 9. That's why they're afraid of 7. Gonna kill a few more here as well.
You had to have your 4th kid to get that dad joke out. All right, so this Stargate's gonna be...
Look at this. This is like already over, man.
Yeah. This is exactly what we were talking about. There's so many things that can happen. In most matchups, there's a series of parameters that you can follow the way the matchup is going to go. But in PvP, there's so many different things that you can do, and then the way those interact with each other, and then the micro within that. It's hard to have any, I think it's fair to say, it's hard to have any super stable opening in PvP. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and there are some that are like kind of stable, but there's always a wrench that can be thrown in. The proxy robo builds especially have been something that people have been complaining about. Obviously, the new battery overcharge thing is trying to deal with that. Does it? That's a conversation that we'll have later on, I'm sure.
I think that's an attempt to cushion it. We'll see how much, especially in the season, it actually plays a role. But yeah, it's hard. So, the big picture here, 24 workers for Zest to the 16 for Zoun. And that's a lot when you're both, practically on one base. I know Zest has gotten a second, or is getting a second up here, but, losing a lot of workers early on, if you're both on one base, is so much more impactful than if you lose a lot on 2 or 3. I mean, you can't remake them that quickly.
Well, generally, as soon as that Oracle gets in and there's nothing there and it uses all its energy, that's like the end of the game.
Right.
Zoun just does not really have anything, and he's going to get flanked here. There's no real way. He's just going to have to GG.
Yeah, GG. Zest with a smothering victory takes out Zoun in game 1. A lot of that was the circumstances of the builds and the fact that the Proxy Oracle obliterated enough probes that, not a fatal blow, but enough for you to set up a fatal blow.
All right. Well, this is what happens in PvP, of course. You hide your buildings, and then you see who hid the right building in the right location, and that player oftentimes gets the advantage. And Zest getting a massive one there, basically a free victory. So we'll see if Zoun can do a bit better in game number 2. Luckily, it's going to be on Death Aura. I'm excited.
This is great. We're getting our new maps right away. I know sometimes we've had seasons where we go over the graphics of the maps, and then it's like 3 weeks later, and then it comes up and go, oh my God, that's right! That's right, we have that map, I forgot!
Yeah, that has happened. Yeah, I think we'll be seeing a fair amount of them, right? We have 4 new ones. You can't really dodge
4
them.
is enough that it's hard to completely zone them out with the map picks. All right, game 2's ready. Let's go.
경기가 준비되었다. 한번 시작해볼까? 라이즈 유얼 엣지 게이밍 제스트 주성우 알파 X 조운 박한솔.
Do you remember Zest's original ID when he came over with his Kespa team in StarCraft 2?
Off the top of my head, I don't.
P7 Gab, or P-Chill Gab, which means covered in blood.
Oh,
what a great ID.
But what a great name to say in a cast. I
Yeah.
mean, that's really, he just flows right out.
Covered in blood.
Covered in blood.
Kind of fits his style though, right?
It is funny how there's IDs that are cool to read.
Yeah.
You know? Wouldn't it be funny if we let the pro gamers just use all the barcodes they use on the ladder?
Yeah. God.
We have to cast it with one of those grocery store item scanners.
Yeah.
I'm doing the play-by-play and I just hold it over each barcode.
Yeah.
It looks like, boop, it's gonna go drop over here. It goes, boop. Yeah, I think actually having the right ID is, frankly, it's really important. I think a lot of pro gamers, when they're younger, I think especially a lot of the Korean pros, when we started casting GSL, didn't really appreciate that they would be known by their IDs and not by their Korean names.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick here, we have a proxy, a Stargate and a proxy robo here, but just to expand on this idea before the game picks up. You know, when esports first got big out here with Starcraft Brood War, even though the players had IDs, on the Korean casters referred to them by their actual names. And so it wasn't until we had English casting out here where it was explained to the production departments, well, the foreigners don't know their names at all.
Yeah.
They know, well, like
most
hardcore
fans are going to know.
They're going to know the names of Slayer's Boxer or Reach, and it's probably better because it's better branding, but then occasionally you have somebody who would change their IDs 3 times a year, and we still have this a little bit with ASL and StarCraft 1, but hopefully that'll go down. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a robo push coming here from Zest.
Yeah.
Or an immortal push, excuse me.
So,
robo push.
You know, this really can go either way. I think that people would generally think Stargate is way favored here, but you know, you kind of get a lot of stalkers generally with Zest build, and if you have that Prism as well, that's going to be hard to deal with, as Stargate units are so tech heavy. We'll see how this goes, though, because I don't think he's really going to have too much defense on him, but yeah, I mean, maybe.
Well, this is going to be a moment where everybody's going to take damage very quickly.
Yeah.
Because the Immortal and Stalkers are coming here, but there's nothing to help defend. It looks like he can sandbag the access to the Adepts over here, but okay, he's going to just try to.
I think that this is not a terrible call by Zoun, to be honest, considering there's already a shield battery up.
Okay, now he's targeting down the first shield battery, and now the second. Probes are being pulled here.
Ooh.
This is a pretty scary army here by Zest, but already this Immortal took way too much damage and is actually shot down.
Yeah.
And this means that Zoun can now completely destroy all the workers over here. Zest, had he kept the Immortal alive, you see this is what the War Prism was for. It's a bit of a dud right now.
Yeah.
I guess it gives him vision on the high ground, but not much else.
You know, both of them wanted to attack as quickly as they really could, and it seems like Zoun's decision here to kill the pylon and then get in with the Adepts as well, as opposed to waste his energy getting just a few probes.
I was curious.
It turned out very well for him.
I was curious when I saw the attack come up there. I thought, oh, is this maybe going to take too much time? Would it have been better to just use the Oracle to hit the probes immediately and then keep having the adepts do
Yeah.
damage over there, but it turns out no. I think really smart split-second decision-making here.
Yeah, that plus picking off the Immortal. If he still had the Immortal, like, he could have maybe broken him by now, right?
It's one of the challenges of moments like this is that I think a lot of times people in their heads think StarCraft pros are just doing everything at once, and at times they're not. They can't be.
Well, truly, you can only do one thing at once.
Right, one thing at a time, and so you have to figure out where priorities lie. And in this case, Zest was prioritizing his defense, which makes sense, but then he lost the Immortal, which was the actual propelling force that allows this rush to really keep doing damage.
Yeah, it really is. And you can see just he can't really break up there. And in fact, Zoun walks down the ramp with quite a bit more than what Zest has. And with the Phoenixes coming over, I mean, you know, this game definitely had more play in it than game number 1, but this is certainly not looking good. Oh, I love those force shields. Look at that. Well, I don't love that part as much, though.
Okay, we're tied up 1-1. That was a very PvP.
This series is truly PvP incarnate.
Yes. This is all action-packed, accelerated rushes, proxies, and, you know, the probes. When those probes start to take damage earlier, that's usually the first sign that we're getting close to somebody getting a closer here. You kill off that many workers, you're both on one base. Even if you hold off the attack to start to remake the workers, the other player already has enough workers that he can keep himself
the unit count is going to go out of control for them at that point.
Right.
Who do you think is going to win game number 3 in this really... I mean, this is PvP, right? Who's going to win this?
I mean, I think Zest, but
you think Zest?
Zoun's capable of doing it.
Honestly, I think game number 3 is going to be won by a player that is 1,000 MMR lower than Zoun, just to make sure that this PvP is 100% accurate.
Well, the map's new. Let's see if there's any exploits on the map as well. Our first game on Submarine, Zest vs. Zoun. Game 3 starts now.
경기가 준비되었다. 한번 시작해 볼까? 라이즈 유얼 엣지 게이밍 제스트 주성우 알파 X 조은 박한솔
Okay, I gotta... I've mentioned this just a little tiny bit in the past, right? But I want to bring it up again because, and I guess we'll see going forward exactly how much of a difference the new overcharge makes. But PvP really changed for the worse when they took out the Mothership Core. It really did. When the Mothership Core is around, it was a dynamic, fascinating matchup won by the better player like all the time.
Isn't it funny how this works? Because if you have, because there were a lot of complaints I think that were fairly justified about the Mothership Core in the other matchups, that it was sort of
it was like too easy to defend or something.
Yeah, it made the race uninteresting, but it was at least a seatbelt on the matchup PvP.
Yeah.
You know, where you look at it, and I mean, I think for instance PvZ was particularly dull with the Mothership Core, but yeah, here it's so crazy what can happen in this matchup. So and. Look, I think it's because there's so many strong moves that can be made.
Yeah.
What is that, the new character that they had come out in Tekken 7 that was, like, way too strong?
Leroy?
Leroy, yeah. Where Tekken pros would joke, like, the hardest part about playing Leroy is making sure that you make the best of all the best moves.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's parts of PvP that are, like, where there's, like, so many strong moves you can do.
Yeah.
But, of course, this is a game of incomplete information, so so many things can blind counter the other, and...
Well, look, I think that shield batteries have been fun and all, but would anyone really complain if we got rid of shield batteries and brought back Mothership Core exactly how it was?
Well, I mean, definitely some people complain.
Yeah, no, that's true. People complain about everything.
Yeah, people complain about everything, but
I loved PvP back then with the Mothership Core. It was actually a lot of fun.
Well,
it was
PvP,
really cool.
Yeah, I think it mirrored a lot of the conservative mirror matchups.
Whenever I watch PvP, I'm like, where are they going to hide the buildings? Oh wow, look at that! They killed all the probes. Isn't that cool?
There's something to the fact that there's so many hidden buildings where it's actually the norm. Like when they don't hide buildings, they go, oh look at you crazy
Yeah, look
guy.
at this. They're both making some Nexuses here. Isn't that crazy? Wow. Well, that's the true way to mix it up right there. They're cheesing each other by expanding. Anyways,
we have an attack coming in here. I believe it's only two Stalkers, right, for Zoun here, and the 2 Adepts, and the battery's a ways off. Damage is going to be dealt before that battery can even be a factor here. In fact, is he going to get the... I thought he might try to get a body block to lock that Stalker out, but I guess what's more important now is to try to kill as many probes as possible. Again, the battery is not finished, so kills are going to happen. Meanwhile, we have Adepts from Zoun killing the workers over here, and this looks like it's going to be an eye for an eye trade.
Yeah, look at that. 5 killed against 4. So pretty even overall. Let's think that Stalker going to be able to make it home. All right, well, yeah, that was pretty close to even. It's about as close as you're going to get. Prism on the way here for Zest.
So I don't know if anybody's really ahead right now. We have the Robo base starting here for Zoun. And it looks like 2 Oracles are going to be sent out here. We'll have to see what the placement is right now for Zest. He has the 2 Stalkers there, but 2 Oracles, they one-shot a probe, of course. So you can come in there and just eliminate workers so quickly.
Yeah. It looks like he has enough anti-air in both bases that I don't think it's going to be really worthwhile to dive with the Oracles right now.
Where did the Warp Prism go? Oh, it's at the center right. Answer my own question. It's at 3 o'clock on the mini-map here.
Yeah, a couple of Adepts going to be warped in for some harassment. We'll see what he gets done. Of course, as soon as you see this flying and start harassing, you're going to have to just pump out a Phoenix, right, and deal with that right away.
Right.
But he might get a few kills.
Well, this is actually a great little move here. He's going to come in here. It looks like he tried to actually swoop in with the Oracles as well. And now we have it a drop along with the Warp in from these Adepts, although the probes have been pulled away pretty quickly. How much is this going to do? And can he actually get the Warp Prism before it gets out? It almost looked like that Oracle shot went up into the Warp Prism for a second.
Imagine if Oracles could hit air, how different this game would be. Oh my god.
Well, that would just be all people made.
We already had that time too, and they shot down at that time.
Buildings and everything, and just...
All right, a little bit more harassment. Does go ahead and shade in there to pick off a sentry. Loses a single Adept and backs out. Okay, finally going to have that Phoenix pop out, so that should be the end of the Prism harassment, at least for now.
So, a Forge, signaling that we're going to have some upgrades, which means, the players investing in long-term plans here. For Zest, it's also going to be charge lots coming. Both players are now in the phase where, because they both have a second base up and they both have enough units to defend, and we're going to have Immortals now pumped out throughout the game.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting scenario as well, because Zest was ahead in workers for a little bit there. But with the Oracles still out, Zoun still has a lot of play, right? He can be very, very active on the map. He has the anti-warp prism with the Phoenix, and then the 2 Oracles flying around. They can tag things, scout things out, do some harassment, kind of keep him pinned a little bit. So it feels like we're getting into a pretty nice game.
So we have a funny situation here. Actually, let me talk about this for a second, because I think that when the Immortal was made, it was never intended to be this thing that was there to kill Stalkers in PvP. It's kind of funny how it ended up, right? I think when they made the Immortal, they were thinking of the tank.
Yeah.
Because they were probably coming off of a StarCraft 1 meta perspective.
Yeah.
And thinking that, well, Protoss needs to have something to answer mech, and maybe this will encourage bio. But instead in PvP, the Immortal is sort of the backbone of the Protoss army in PvP in a lot of senses. Yeah. It allows you to really get sustain and not really be out microed. And so here we have the first push coming out.
Yeah, such a such a powerful unit it is, too. It means so much in this matchup, and not just this matchup even, right? Like, we see it used.
Yeah.
It's very strong against Terran, although not as needed, and then against Zerg, it's kind of the backbone as well a lot of the time.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I like it.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was actually so much value. Considering you just warp him in, you're like, oh, you know what? Zap that down. Now these oracles aren't going to be able to help over here.
All right, gets rid of that. Gonna start walking in.
By the
Probably
way,
get to see that overcharge. I love the 2 cannons there as well.
not having the oracle energy there, usually that the oracles help with the closer and building up momentum in the attack. He's going to instead do an immortal drop up over here. He's going to try to ferry more units up here. Oh, wow, a great tactical play here by Zoun. Is this going to actually work?
Wow, very cool indeed. He shades in. Look at that. Actually catches all those stalkers walking down from that main mineral line.
Does this work?
Well, we're about to find out about that. He
I
still
don't
has
think
a
it does.
prism with the 2 immortals, so the immortals being juggled quite nicely, but Zest seems to just have way too much.
I think he can just kill the War Prism and then win this fight. Yes, he can, Zoun, with the ideas, but certainly not one that can be executed well. And I think he basically put himself into a bad position when he got up the ramp.
It was a super cool idea. Props to him for trying a move like that. But on second thought, it's like, well, of course that shouldn't work, right? Like,
Yeah,
why would that?
It was exciting to see, but then when you saw it actually come out, there's no good placement.
Yeah.
There's definitely more surface area and warping potential.
I think he wanted to attack for sure, and he was on the glaives and everything.
Yeah.
So those parts made sense. And when you see 2 photon cannons, the new overcharge, and 2 cannons, I mean, 2 photon cannons and 2 batteries, right, at the natural, you can't attack there. But your army's not going to scale either. You have to do something.
Yeah, he had to get in there and do damage somehow. I think he saw the cannons over at the natural and thought, well, if I can avoid that, if I can circumvent the presence of the cannons, maybe I can just do damage in the main. If I can get enough control over the little ramp area where the rest of the units can't get up, that would be a win too. But he didn't have enough of the... Oh, we actually got to go to break. I'll talk more about that after this. We'll be right back. Don't go away.